Thank you very much, Young. I am Amanda Fleti from the Committee on Social Inclusion, Participatory Democracy and Human Rights of UCLG. My pleasure to be moderating the session today. I would like to welcome you and welcome the speakers to the session that we will have today on collaboration and partnership between LRGs, local and regional governments, and SSE actors, social and solidarity economy actors, in achieving sustainable and inclusive society. So today we will have a session with first three presentations of speakers, then have a Q&A moment where we will be able to exchange with the participants and having a small debate around the main challenges of this collaboration and partnership we would like to have together. And then we will have the closing remarks of the session. So I would like to welcome warmly our three panelists who will be talking today. We will have Emmanuel Jose from the RTES, it's the French network for solidarity economy. We will have with us also Ayako Koike from the Association of Promotion of SSE in Japan. And finally, we will have Malik Diop from the Network of Actors and Local Authorities for SSE. I'm sorry, and I'm also missing here our last speaker. Very sorry, because I said three, it's four. Mr. Chang Won-hon from the National Association of Local Government Promoting SSE in Korea. So welcome to all of you, to the four speakers. And Emmanuel Jose, the floor is yours. Emmanuel Jose, can you hear us?
So hopefully you can hear me on my telephone. I apologize, says Emmanuel. So I'm Emmanuel Jose. I am a board member of RTES. This is a network of local elected officials and others who are committed to SSE. I'm in Bretagne, in Brittany, in the north of France, where we have been leading initiatives in SSE for a number of years. RTES has, like many other networks, the mission of carrying out favouring exchanges between local governments. We are over 130 different local authorities, so small town halls with 500 inhabitants, but also much larger cities such as Nantes, Paris, or where I am in the north of France. And so this is a network which works very well. It has this vocation of working for SSE, carrying out training and providing exchanges. We have a number of studies that we carry out on the role that SSE plays in public policies. And also we have a number of studies on a number of different issues. Recently we have led two complementary areas of work looking at the role that SSE plays at a territorial level or at a local level, above all fragile areas. That's our main commitment. And so we talk about the policy of urban areas, poorer urban areas, and also rural areas, isolated areas in the countryside as well. We work with all of the local authorities in these different areas. The main objective of the work is that we want to work with the main actors in SSE, members of the government and agencies, and we want to raise awareness on the fact that SSE can really play a key role in fragile areas, vulnerable areas, but our message is that we need support for SSE. So what we have said is that you need to really know the reality of the situation on the ground in order to be able to act. Everything really is based on the needs of the local residents. So providing added value, and we are in a network of, we have a network of activists as well, and well, you know, all of you know that there's a real need to take action in the in terms of economic development of local areas to favour a functional mix of the territories, ensure sustainable local development. And what we can see is that there are plenty of experiences, plenty of projects in SSE which are emerging in these different areas. I can just tell you a few. I can tell you about a few of them. So, for example, in Marseille, in the northern area of Marseille, we have developed cooperatives we have cooperatives to work in the most difficult areas. We say, if you say to any French person, the northern neighborhoods in Marseille, everybody knows that that they have difficulties, that there's a lot of urban tension, a lot of poverty and inequalities. There are we have organizations at local level that are promoting um, several different cooperatives. We have one particular one which is called Hotel Clot, which helps, which means that people can rent out their rooms, their spare bedrooms, to tourists. And we also have visits in the area. It is a nice area. If you go out of the concrete areas, then you can see it is actually a very nice area. The countryside nearby is very nice. And so we try to promote activities, promote tourism. We also have a food cooperative as well, and so a difficult area with lots of poverty. There we have set up a restaurant, and this is all thanks to GSEF because we were able to carry out visits in 2016. We visited a number of projects elsewhere, and we came back and we brought in new ideas that we looked at the city of Rennes and we saw that they had volunteers and interns working. They had salaried workers as well that were working in all different levels of the food chain. They're providing a lot of solidarity, and they had a restaurant which was like a delicatessen, and people could come in and it was an excellent initiative. And we have also been working in rural areas. We have some very nice initiatives in rural areas. We have a federation um, which has buses that go around providing access to digital services for those who do not have access to the internet. So this allows people to do training or to access several different types of services. And we have a cooperative that has been set up in a small area of just 1,000 people. It's a grocery store which has a cafe, a restaurant. They also sell good wine, of course, good wine, good French wine. And this has meant that we've been able to set up, to create employment, to set up the right places for people so that they can speak to each other. And this really means that people want to, there's a real desire to work well here. And local governments have a key role to play here. They have a key role to play at several different levels. Firstly, we can see that they can say it is possible. We have successful experiences elsewhere. We organise visits, and we have worked with mayors in different areas. We've been looking at how projects can be expanded, and also um, support for projects, dynamics at resident level, at citizen level have been operating. And we have responsible procurement that we've been working on. So public procurement, which actually favors the social and solidarity economy, above all in fragile and vulnerable areas. And there's also access to in France, often, as you may know, it's difficult to gain access to land. So, for young people, for example, they find it hard to buy land if they need it. And this is a problem in rural areas as well, where people are not able to buy a building or a land to turn it into a business or to set up a grocery store. And so we have been developing property, developing real estate so that we can make it available for those interested in SSE projects. And I can give you one very concrete example that we've been leading in one particular rural area. So we have 300 communes, 300 municipalities with less than 100 inhabitants that have come together, and we have 200 municipalities with less than 1,000. And so there are no more shops in these areas that people cannot buy things. And we have a lot of mayors that have been saying, we don't know what to do now. We have no idea. We cannot provide for the needs of the elderly or of our local people, those who have disabilities, young people. We don't know what to do. We cannot. These people do not have access to services. So we organised a set of visits in Brittany, and we wanted to show the mayors that it is through the social and solidarity economy that we can respond to their needs, and that we really need to focus on the local population. We need to mobilize people in the area at local level so that we can respond to their needs. It's not just saying we need to set up, we need to create a grocery store. No, we have to get the people mobilized, and we were able to go and visit grocery stores, cafes, small businesses in rural areas, and we were able to see how they work. And we carried out exchanges, we had discussions, and we had technical workshops as well for those leading, for those who want to set up in local areas, and also for elected officials, so that we could focus on methodology. And we looked at the work being done at local level so as to ensure that we could accompany people, and we were able to look at financing as well so that we could work with the local residents and look at their needs. So SSE projects often require more time. You need to look at the needs of the local inhabitants, look at the needs of the local authorities, look at local government. And that often takes time. You don't always have the right means, you don't have the right time available, you don't have the right resources. It's sometimes difficult to support these local municipalities, these town hall, town councils. And we need to ensure that SSE finds its place in society. And we have a book that explains many of our projects, which can, and really that helps us to understand what can be done at local level. What we can see is that SSE projects, they're really a great resource. They allow people to work, to have employment. It allows for local services to be provided. It means that people stay in their local areas instead of going elsewhere. And we've seen this above all with the COVID-19 pandemic, that really local people have been making masks, they have face masks, they have been making equipment to protect the elderly, have been providing local people with local food from that is farmed and produced nearby. So really, we have seen in times of great tension, in times of great difficulties, we have pragmatic solutions which help people to stay in their local areas. And we find that it doesn't cost that much more expensive. Sometimes it can be even cheaper than the conventional solutions. It just means that you have to think differently, you have to have a different approach, and we need to train local officials, we need to train local authorities so that they can ensure that this actually happens. So that's just a quick overview, and I hope that my colleagues from RTS can share the links. You can see the website here on the screen, and you can, of course, contact me on the website. You can find many of our documents, which speak about our training sessions, the discussions that we carry out, and we are very much here for our members and for all of you. So that's just a quick overview, and I'm here for any questions if necessary. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Emmanuel, for this great first presentation showing how social and solidarity economy can be like a transformative policy for local and regional government, providing a concrete tool to advance on the dialogue with civil society on how to improve the local economic development and improve the response to the local challenges with concrete projects, with concrete policies led by the local stakeholders. Before you leave, because I think that you have to leave soon, I would like to ask you if you could share with us your thought on how to transform the present and build a better future from the perspective of the social and solidarity economy. Thank you, Emmanuel.
So that's a really big question. I would love to have a magic wand to be able to solve society. It's really a question which is important for us, but it's difficult to provide one single answer. Just don't be scared. Don't be frightened. Work in a different way, an innovative way. Don't worry, and together we can take into account the different perspectives, and in this way we can respond to the needs. You need to constantly reinvent yourself. You need to avoid prejudices and uh, really try to involve everybody in society. That's the best answer I can give now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Emmanuel. We will go now to our second speaker of the session. So, Ayako Koike, if you would like to take the floor. So, you're representing the Association of Promotion of Social and Solidarity Economy in Japan.
Okay. Yes, so hello everyone. My name is Ayako Koike from We21 Japan. Yes. Yes, representing We21 Japan, which is a member of the Association of Promoting Social Solidarity Economy in Japan. So let me introduce our activity of We21 Japan Group. We21 Japan aims to create a sustainable and inclusive society by doing second-hand shop business, making use of reusable resources. First of all, the characteristic of We21 Japan Group is that the social goal of its business is clear. Our social mission is to effectively make use of reusable resources in the community for a sustainable society. Take action to address the issues of poverty, conflict, and human rights violations, and have a wide perspective, act locally, and cooperate with people crossing borders. Interact with other grassroots citizens of Asia, cooperate with social activity groups, and most importantly, empower women by encouraging them to independently participate in the activity. So now let me introduce how our business is carried out to achieve our goal. Our activity takes place in Kanaga Prefecture, which is next to Tokyo. Kanaga Prefecture, with a population of 9.2 million, has various industries and many sightseeing spots. It is also a Tokyo commuter town with vast housing area. There are approximately 40 urban areas and 50 charity shops called Reshops in business. Charity shop owner NPOs are scattered, and each NPOs separately does business in respective area. We21 Japan serves as a coordinator of the whole group, taking care of warehouse to stock and deliver merchandise, public relations, and advocacy or policy recommendation. Okay, so let's take a look at our eco-friendly business in the fiscal year 2019. Merchandise of Reshop is mainly donated by citizens who understand our mission. Various things are sold at the Reshop. Number of donations was 95,246, but number of donated items was much more that. The amount of total sales was 2,882,219 US dollars. Number of customers was 370,466, and items of clothing sold were 217,000. We also sell fair trade products and remake products made by volunteer members. Recently, upcycling has become common. Reshop performs as a collecting station of used cooking oils, down products, and used mobile phones to be recycled. A lot of things, people and money gather in the shop. There are a few shop staffers to manage the shop, but volunteers are the key persons who run the shop. Last year, total of as many as 40,972 volunteers joined us. They use their skill in whatever they are good at. To some, volunteer work gives them value to their life. Interaction among co-workers makes a shop atmosphere lively. Uh, sorry. Yes. Another activity of We21 Japan is international or interpeople cooperation, mainly in Asia. Cost of which is derived from the profit of charity shop business. Last year, we financially supported 155 programs of 122 organizations in 30 countries and subsidized $228,788 US. In addition to that, we spent $72,642 to purchase fair trade goods. And characteristics of our interpeople cooperation are the large number of the projects we support and the ways we carry out programs. Each local We21 Japan decides what project to support. The amount of money may not be so big, but we give more value in direct relationships with the counterpart, communication with the people in the field, and exchange of experiences. This way we can understand better the problems they have and we share the information with the people in our community who support us and help them find out how we can be committed. So for an example, let's look at the program carried out in the Philippines to support indigenous community. After working together with NGOs in the Philippines for some time, we were asked to help a group of farmers whose living environment was devastated because of the open pit mining lasted for 10 years and abandoned. We21 Japan collaborated with Philippine people's organizations and NGOs to support farmers' living and to refuse another mining project. We invited our counterparts several times to Japan to study in Ashio deserted copper mines. Studying a history of environmental rehabilitation in Ashio and of land and water pollution helped them understand better what to do. As a result of such interaction, people of both sides have come to know better the mining and environment issues. Philippine local governments also became more cooperative in protection of environment and promotion of agriculture. In Japan, we participate more in environmental activities. So finally, let's find out why We21 Japan's activity has expanded. Cooperation with other actors of social solidarity economy is one of the reasons. Without the help of the community bank for women and citizens, it was impossible for us to open as many as 50 Reshops. While most banks hesitate to lend money to a women's group with hardly any business experiences. But Community Bank lent us money at a low interest rate. Total amount we had borrowed was $935,750 US, which of course we completed repayment. And workers' collective carry is another actor. Carry undertakes delivery business such as delivering stocks of clothes between warehouse and shops seasonally and delivering clothes and glasswares that could not be sold at shops to a fiber recycling company or a glass recycling company. Many women are participating in carry business. Occasionally, we do a food drive cooperating with Food Bank Kanagawa. And also cooperation with social solidarity economy actors also exists in We21 local NPOs. For example, in Kohoku Ward, which is one of the 18 wards of Metropolitan Yokohama, citizens' business is very active. many social and welfare groups and consumers and workers cooperative are acting in Kohoku for the benefit for vulnerable people like handicapped or seniors. They have various operations such as natural food store, cafe, gallery, nursery for seniors, places for culture and social activities, and senior-friendly community bus. For 40 years, these groups have committed in holding peace exhibition and an open market for citizens to sell products freely. Okay, yes, this is a map around the Reshop Kohoku. And yes, there are many social solidarity economy actors like this. So We21 Japan Kohoku is doing their business actively and successfully cooperating with these organizations. Yes, now let's look at the collaboration with local government unit. What is often done at Reshops is accepting public junior high school students for job experiences. A few students per shop work for a few days. Through this experience, they learn that there is an alternative business model operated by citizens and also learn this kind of business plays an important role in the field of environment and international cooperation. Sometimes asked by the Employment Support Office for the Disabled, we should accept people who are handicapped or the ones isolating themselves from the society to give a chance to make a fresh start. So they start slowly working for a short time and gradually find out their way and start communicating with the people around. So it is a great joy for the shop members when they know that some of them were employed again. So, in conclusion, this is a summary reason why we are successful. V21 Japan has been able to expand the business and gain strong support of the citizen because we have a clear mission. And organized supporters collected many donations and mobilized many volunteers. And secondly, we have good relationship with other social business and movement in the local community. And thirdly, we keep good face-to-face relationship with citizens abroad involved in social movement and social businesses. Together, we find solutions for various problems by sharing experiences. The final and the most important thing is that we spend a lot of time and money for the education of the members who actually do the business operation. Yes, so now it's time to finish my presentation. Thank you for your listening. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to you, Ayako Koike, for presenting how you work with your network from Japan and addressing the most pressing challenges as like poverty or environmental challenges also with this work that we are developing around the social and solidarity economy. I would like to go now to our third speaker. I would like to invite Malik Job from the network of actors and local authorities for social and solidarity economy to take the floor.
From Senegal, I will be talking about the situation in Senegal, partnerships between governments and local authorities and SSE. So let's give you an outline of what we do. We are part of a large network, the network of actors and local authorities for social and solidarity economy. So who are we precisely? As I say, it's a large network that brings together under the same umbrella four families of stakeholders. First of all, we have the platform of non-state actors. This platform of non-state actors is a network of 500 civil society organizations, trade unions in the private sector. Then we have the Union of Associations of local officials, bringing together local authorities, but And then we have the municipality of the town of Dakar, which really serves as a bridge between us and all the various different local authorities and the ministry. And finally, we have the Ministry of Microfinance and Solidarity Economy, which plays a very important strategic part, all working together to improve SSE in our country. It's very important that we're all working together to do this. So about 7 years ago, we already started talking about SSE. And then 3 years ago, the Ministry for SSE was created. This is an important aspect, that this network has been up and running for 3 years. There was a great deal of significant work to be done in consultations, dialogue, so that we could lay down the ground rules. And then we had 2 years of co-construction. We needed to plan and design the process. And obviously the process involved various different consultations so that we could lay down the ground rules, so that we could all sit down together and talk about what we need to do. We'd set up co-construction workshops where we drew up a charter, a declaration of faith, the operating rules, how we could have a participatory democratic approach to the way that we work across the SSE network. And then with GSEF, we organized a national capacity building session on the role and the place of SSE in the territorialization of public policy. There's a 5-day course. All the local officials, all the various different stakeholders came together, and we strengthened the dynamic. We strengthened organization of SSE in our network. That was a very important step for us. The next step in the process was an international workshop. So we moved from the local authorities to a much wider scale so that we could share experiences and work together on the dynamic. I'd like to thank RTS for actually collaborating on this and for helping us through this process, so that we could then take the process across the whole of the country of Senegal. And it was at this point in time, after all the groundwork, that we set up this network of actors and local authorities for SSE in our countries. So we've done all the groundwork, we have worked and shared experiences, we have brought all of the various different actors together so that we could build this together. And this is really the basic definition of social and solidarity economy. It is a local activity based on working local experiences, local knowledge, based on local experiences on a local scale, and being able to branch across the different scales, being able to overcome differences, different sectors working together. And this is why we had all the various different actors working together to create this network together. Next slide. So next question, where are we going? I think it's very important that we set a course. When we talk about collaboration, it's very important that all the members of this network have a clear idea of the direction in which we're heading. What are we going to do? We're going to promote SSE in local and national policy making. It needs to work correctly so that we can have an economic system that's more resilient, more sustainable, and more inclusive. That's very important for us to take on board. And the next aspect, where are we going, is the fact that through collaboration, through a dynamic collaboration, we can first raise awareness, build trust as well. I think it's very important that we build trust. Cooperation is important, but we need to raise awareness. We need to spread the word, spread knowledge, so that we can have an SSE-friendly ecosystem and that we can have sustainable development. So we need trust, we need cooperation, but we also need to promote and create an ecosystem of which everybody is fully apprised. So, what is our compass, so to speak? Well, we have various different strategic areas of intervention. First of all, we need to strengthen the intervention capacities of the actors. So we're talking about the organizations of SSE, government. We have a school system, a college where we can train up people. It's very important that we can train people up properly. And it's very important that the actors in Senegal, but across Africa as well, because we have an informal economy. The informal economy represents the lion's share of our country's economy. So it's very important that we work together and train people up, and that we formalize the economy, so to speak. Next idea, the next area of intervention is that we need to capitalize on our experiences and good practices and share them with everybody. Next point is that we need to improve mechanisms for citizen participation in public policies. We need to look at ways of setting up policies that make sense for everybody, because in SSE, democracy is a key plank. So we need democracy. We need to be democratic. We need it to be participatory. And we need, therefore, to have participatory mechanisms to help with the design of public policy. The fourth area of intervention is that we need to improve partnerships and communication between the various different categories of actors. This is very important. Collaboration between the various different actors and the government. And this needs to be realized through dynamic partnerships based on solid organizational models. Okay. Next question. What are the values that we need to uphold? These are values that everybody needs to share. First of all, we need to be able to have shared values. That's at the center of the equation. And then we have 4 values around this. First value to feed into this is democratic governance. We need to have a proper functioning system. We need democratic governance. This is very important so that we can have a process whereby partnerships can be created and the rules are respected by all. The other value is solidarity. How are we going to promote solidarity so that the smaller actors are not absorbed by the bigger actors, that the bigger actors are not negatively affected by the smaller actors? There needs to be a system of subsidiarity, a complementarity, so that we can have everybody working together under the same concept. The next value is accountability. How are we going to make our organizations accountable and responsible for their actions so that we can have public policy, the public procurement systems, the financial systems, support systems? How can we have them all working together? Well, I think it's absolutely key that we have accountability as part of this entire value chain. And the next and final value is independence and respect for the identities of others. If we want to be able to formalize and harmonize SSE, we need all of these values to come together. So we need everybody to be able to understand the limits of their own competencies, their autonomy, but respect the identities of others, because we must all understand that there are differences that need to be overcome, and we need to be able to work together so that we can really have influence on public policy. So it's these 4 values that come together that need to really be allied so that we can work together. The signal has gone. Okay, we're back. Now, it's very important that we document these practices. We need to take a practical approach. How are we going to create this collaboration between national government, central government, local government, and local stakeholders so that we can create these public policies. It's very important that we have a process in place. First of all, we need to look at co-construction. We need to have access to information, access to the decision-making process. We need to have locally affected officials. We need the local governments to be part of this. But we need the other actors to have access to the information that can be provided to them. I think it's very important that we involve local governments, that they give access to the information and access to the decision-making process. I think this feeds into this idea of responsibility across the chain. And if we do then have access to information, then the next question is how we're going to act after the policy-making decision. So we sat and discussed this, and what we have in Senegal now is a situation where we have created aid for the sectors, and now we are creating a framework law. And we've done this only over the last 2 years. There has been an exponential evolution in our policy-making processes, and this is bringing in SSE. So now that we have this structure, we need to be able to organize the actors so that we can have everybody feeding in with their thinking into the entire process. So we need to ask, how can we organize ourselves so that we can have a consultation process? How we can have civil society, we can have different organizations working together. We also have to organize co-construction workshops. And then we all need to share our experiences. And if we can do this, we can have a proper impact on the local economic ecosystem. And then finally, once we know how to work, we have to ask ourselves, how can we project what we have done onto the economic fabric in our town, across the country? How are we going to be able to work together so that we can set up this system? First, we need a dynamic consultation process through partnerships. And then we need to have very strong cooperation models so that we can work together and we can have a proper impact on public policy making. Then we need to move on to the next stage. We need to be able to make decisions together. But when we do this, we need to respect the interaction between the different actors, how people work together. This is very important. If governments are involved, they need to respect others. But then we look at local governments, local municipalities. They also need to respect everyone else. And then we, local actors, also need to respect what has been done. So we're not talking about ignoring what's been done by anybody else in the chain. It's about everybody working together to create a strong chain so that we can work together respecting others. If we make a decision, if local governments come to a decision, and if we don't respect the basic ground rules that we laid down at the outset, then we're not going to be able to move together. So we need to raise awareness of the fact that it's a co-construction process. And by doing this, we're going to be able to build alliances, build partnerships. We can have strong organizations through these alliances. Now, I am the head of coordination for our network, but it's the mayor of the town who's above us. So you can see that there's a system here. We have the Municipal Development Fund, FODEM, also, that helps us through the partnerships. So they are all different strands in these partnerships. There's a lot of cooperation, people working together. There's smart systems where we can get people working together and we all complement each other's actions. And this way, all of the various different actors can work together. We can organize SSE together. We can delegate powers. And this means that we can access public procurement. We can access public policy making all together. And we therefore have these citizens working together, the government's working with them, and there is a respect for everybody within the network. So these are the experiences that we've had in terms of co-construction and partnerships. And through the co-construction of this local dynamic, but we have also seen how our experiences have had an impact at the national level. We have been able to build SSE across the country. We have a steering committee working to influence public policy making in SSE. We have the framework law that has been created, which is helping us through the process. And we are working also in close collaboration with the city of Dakar, with the mayor's office, and we are now in a position where we can radically change the way that things are done in our town. And also, as an aside, COVID has actually helped us with a paradigm shift, because really it has led to a situation in which we've had to re-evaluate what we're doing. COVID has changed the way that we work in the town of Dakar. It's changed public procurement systems. It has enabled us to organize SSE across the 19 different municipalities of our town. We have now this co-construction, co-building system through SSE across our town, through the market system and the economy. And this has helped us. We have had our local populations under lockdown, but the fact that we've had to help them, we've had to provide them with food and sustenance. And this has given structure to our work. And in fact, the state of Senegal has had to create certain operating rules so that we can respond to their needs and demands. Because of the situation in our various different municipalities, we've seen that with the way that things worked before, we couldn't meet their needs because the legal framework was not adequate. So we've changed the way we do things so that we can now meet the needs. And in fact, a decree has been issued by our government enabling local produce to be sold through the proper systems. We've reorganized our local markets, our procurement systems as well. We've also introduced more flexible financing mechanisms as well, because the loan system in the past was too complicated, too expensive. We've also brought down the rate so that it has made it easier for people to access loans. And in fact, COVID has helped us, therefore, to restructure our economy through a multi-stakeholder, smart and progressive new approach to policy making. Now, I think that's our last slide. I think that brings me now to the end of my presentation. So, this leads me to my conclusion: cooperation and partnership with local actors, local governments working in a dynamic and updated approach. We do not want people working in opposition to each other. We don't want to be face to face. We want to be side by side, because we need to take this path together. And we also need to radically change the hearts and minds of our local populations. We need a social model that is more flexible. And this will enable local populations to be far more resilient. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Malik, for this presentation showing the importance of developing a strategy around social and solidarity economy, so we can level up, scale up a little bit the focus of social and solidarity economy, involving multi-level dialogue, involving multi-stakeholders in the economy. So thank you very much. I would like now to invite our last speaker to present, I don't know if the presentation is invites Mr. Young Kim, Executive Director of the National Association. I'm sorry because I'm just here of the network of local government promoting a social and solidarity economy in Korea. So, Mr. Young Kim, you are welcome. Please, if you would like to take the floor.
Mr. Mayor Chung Won-oh was supposed to give a talk this afternoon in Korea, but unfortunately he couldn't make it. So I'm giving you a talk on his behalf. Uh, Let me give you a brief overview of my talk. So basically, I'd like to share with you about our experience of problem-solving partnership, if you will. And we have been working with many other stakeholders since we have been established in 2013. And our main goal is to promote social SSE and social innovation as an important strategy for regional development. So collaboration and partnerships are sort of ingrained in our organization. So we've been having a lot of, say, good examples and best practices for this. So I'm gonna give you, and today I'd like to share with you about four recent examples among best practices of my organization. And these are sort of relatively recent case of collaboration, and also these are sort of design and geared efforts to design efforts to fight against the coronavirus pandemic in Korea. Uh, Let me give you the first example. Excuse me. We call this project a Happy Community Project, which is a artificial intelligence care service for the elderly, performed by the social enterprise. So basically, the number of elders living alone in Korea has been soared, and but the expansion of care service has been limited due to the lack of budget and also the lack of the staff. So my organization designed sort of new care service using AI speakers with the one of the top mobile carrier SK Telecom in Korean mobile carrier SK Telecom, and a social enterprise Happy Connect. Uh, what it did was basically to distribute these AI speakers of SK Telecom to selected seniors living alone. And we, local governments, the participating local governments chose who's going to receive these speakers. Mostly the, elders living alone. Some of them are middle-aged people who live alone, and which tend to commit to suicide at a higher rate. So anyway, we after distributing the speakers, social enterprise Happy Connect runs the control center that monitors any negative words spoken from the users, such as "I want to die," and also how often a user uses this AI speakers, and also they've been monitoring how they are doing, basically the safety of the senior users. And local governments hire the staff called care manager, and basically they get reports from the control center about the the status of senior users they get assigned, and also if they have any problem, if there is any problem, then they make a visit when their assigned seniors have problems. And in emergency, elderly can say "Save me" or SOS to call up an emergency services dispatcher. And if you users make comments like this, which raise a red flag, and it gets reported to their care manager and also the control center and the security service firm. So immediately they will get taken care of, and the emergency staff will be dispatched. So this service have been very useful. This service has been very useful and very helpful for these elderly people because uh, their lives have been saved. Could you just get back to the previous slide? I have a couple of things to explain more. Okay, one more, please. The previous one. Yes. Uh, and also, this service has some dementia prevention program, like giving quiz and also playing songs and some fun things, reading text messages from the local authority, alarming the emergencies or some problems like the COVID virus cases. So anyway, this project was the outcome of partnership of three players: local governments of 8 members, city governments of my association, and SK Telecom mobile carrier, and also social enterprise. And this project has started with 8 cities for 2,100 elders in last year, and now we are helping more than 6,000 elders of 30 cities. So it has been expanded, and also this project has saved lives of 26 seniors so far. So this service has been covered by many news media around the world. Please go next one. As you can see, many news media around the world have covered this project. Okay, the second project that I want to introduce is called Good Paid Forward Project, or Good Payment Project. So one of my member cities, Yangcheon-gu, led this consumption campaign to help the COVID-19 stricken local businesses. They had a sort of wider package to help these local businesses, and this was one of a part of it. And scheme is a little different from Paid for London, as you may know already, where people pay in advance and holds to get services or products until the business gets back to normal or near normal status. It is different from suspended coffee type of approach because, as you probably know, suspended coffee focuses on paying customer does not necessarily claim the product right now. Rather, he or she gives out the coffee for the neighbors in need. Meanwhile, Yangcheon-gu, the city's approach makes the paying customers whole to get these products or services until sometime later for their own, so they can use it later at a discounted rate. So customers pay about the $27 for later purchase at least, and they can have more value at a later time. And local governments help the participating businesses to provide uh, discount, and also they provide participants of the campaign, like the customers, with a small gift bag. So in this case, partnership is made of three players as well: local governments, local business association, including social enterprises and SSE actors, local business association and local shops and restaurants, including social SSE actors. And this was also expanded from 12 businesses to 253 businesses in a few months. And also this gets nationwide attention. So now it has been spread out to other cities, and big companies jumped in, such as KB Finance Group and E-Mart, like Korean Walmart, and some other metropolitan governments. Okay, let's go to third project, which is about basically the legislation project for essential workers. I would say this one is a little different from other project that I'm talking about because this does not involve SSE actors directly, but I figured this project is also very important to boost social SSE actors because many essential workers in Korea are working in the SSE sector. So the Seongdong-gu, one of the member cities, made the first ordinance in Korea to protect and support essential workers during the state of emergency caused by natural and social disaster, including this pandemic. And this effort led to the national tension and ignited a legislation process and the policy package as well. So Korean lawmakers are now working on a bill for essential workers. Eligible workers under this bill are paid a temporary wage top-up and provided with priority access to vaccine and service packages. And essential working sectors, essential industry or essential workers can be healthcare employees, caregivers, public transportation operators, couriers, and postmen, and cleaners, janitors, etc. So they are considered as essential workers for Korean society run as usual. And we had this is kind of very recent project, and since last May, where when needs to support these essential workers have have been identified and raised, the first ordinance for essential workers has been made by Seongdong-gu, as I mentioned, and in this month, like about a week ago, couple of weeks ago, policy package was announced by the national government for essential workers, and now we are working on a bill. So in like less than 6 months, we made quite a progress, I guess. Partnership consists of local governments, National Assembly of Korea, and National Government of Korea. And so let's go to the final case. Okay. As you know, many platform workers like Uber drivers, riders, couriers, they are doing well in some cases, but most in other cases, they've been suffering from unsecure employment status and absence of insurance coverage and for occupational injuries. That's not different. There's no different in Korea either. So several organizations have been talking about creating a sort of mutual fund to help these platform workers. So they've been talking to social finance organizations such as SBS Fund, which is one of the major wholesale fund in Korea, and they work together to create a mutual fund for platform workers. And Seoul Metropolitan Government, local government, had jumped in, and they have supported almost $2 million as seed money last month. With that money, SBS Foundation now starts running the fund, and members of the mutual fund, like riders and all those platform workers, will pay monthly fee, kind of premium for insurance, and they will use this money, the accumulated money, to pay medical bills when the member has injuries. So it's going to be like working as a sort of insurance. And so this mutual fund now is up and running. In this case, partnership has been created by SSE Actors, Platform Workers Union, and local governments. So hopefully this fund will grow in the near future. And currently 6 union and COOPs are selected as a mutual and service operators. Okay, so just as a final remark, I'm going to give you a brief, explanation about what challenges that we are having through this process. In terms of collaboration and partnership among, between local governments and SSE actors, there are always many problems and the challenges and issues. But one of the major issues in Korea is that I would say lack of capacity from SSE actors. So some SSE organizations are not up to the expectation of local governments in their supply capacity or quality control products and services, which is a big problem for the public officials who have some interest in buying some products from or services from social SSE actors. So this prohibits local governments from incorporating SSE organization into their public service supply chain or buying practice. Uh, So public procurement very important, but if SSE actors are not ready, then sometimes it's going to be a big challenge for them. Political impact on sustainability of policy is also an issue. The change of the leadership, political leadership, may alter the existing ground of partnership and collaboration. If we have a new mayor at a certain city, then if he or she doesn't like the idea of SSE, then all this collaboration can just stop in some time. So that happens before in Korea. So I think this is another challenge for us. So in that, to solve this kind of problem, the more engagement we should have from the city with the citizen, so that the politician will listen to us, and they'll think so SSE is an important agenda. And finally, money is always important. If you don't have enough budget, then collaborating or partnership does not work. So while we are working on all of these projects, we've been closely working with those who have some control over the budget, so that we can secure some fundings or a budget to initiate the all this project. So that's all for now, and thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you very much for presenting also the possible responses in this context of pandemic of the social and solidarity economy. I think it was interesting also to have this dimension in the session today, and also for sharing the challenges about the social and solidarity economy, and showing that we still need to strengthen it better in the system of local governments and the link with national government also. So I would like now to, if we could start the Q&A session, if we could maybe, if you would have some questions to our speakers and panelists. I am waiting to see if I am receiving some feedback from the Secretariat of GSEF regarding the questions. So what we could, I think we could start also with the general question of the session, which was, how would you transform the present and build a better future from the perspective of SSE? And I would like to invite each one of the speakers to share some 3-4 key ideas on how to build this better future for SSE. So as we don't have Emmanuel with us anymore, I would kindly ask maybe Ayako Koike from Japan to share her thoughts with us.
Yes. Okay. Yes. So yes. So yes. Okay. At first, in Japan, the visibility of SSE is very low. Lack of legislation for SSE so makes this really difficult for NPOs and municipal governments to promote SSE together. So the also legislation to back up SSE is inevitable. So we think it's more important for SSE actors to cultivate connection among each other. Yes, so our recommendations are yes. At first, first keyword is visualization. Uh, Mapping out of each SSE actor helps people to know where SSE takes place. So each municipality's SSE map can be together to make a nationwide map of SSE actors. So, yes, at first, visualization is needed. So, the second keyword is empowerment. Yes. So we need to promote stronger relationship among SSE actors in Japan. We should make more opportunities to each SSE actor to empower each other. So which will make stronger unity of actors. So this is our second keyword. So third keyword is association with immigrants. Yes, so yeah, number of immigrants is currently increasing in Japan, but the Japan is not very open to them. So many of them became jobless and poverty stricken under this corona pandemic. So immigrants are forced to live in so difficult situation. So there are all kinds of discrepancies of the present society exist. So to make a society where diverse people can live comfortably, we need to associate more with the vulnerable people who know the disparity. So SSE can disseminate easier in a society with diversity. Yeah, this is there are our recommendations for this question, how to transform the present and build a better future from the perspective of the SSE. Yes.
Thank you very much your for sharing your thoughts on this question.
Yes.
I would like to invite Malik Job to also share some keywords on how to better build a future for the social and solidarity economy.
Mots-clés, peut-être trois mots-clés.
Thank you. So maybe 3 points. And maybe in the same order as what we've heard. So, firstly, it's about knowledge, being aware, awareness, because we're in a sector which is still unknown, I think. Not many people know about it, and so we have to work on awareness raising, and we have to help people to understand what it's all about. So we have to offer the SSE lens to other people so that they can see the world through an SSE analysis.
Par rapport à nos concepts, par rapport à nos indicateurs de développement, par rapport à
And
nos
so people have to know about our indicators, our projects, our guidance. And so really it's about sharing good practice so that people know what our practice is about. This is absolutely fundamental. And then the second key point is being able to do things, ability, and we need to have power. We need to change the current situation. We can only change the current situation if we do that through policy. So we have to approach the powers that be, approach government, approach others, and it is through being in touch with power, political, those who have political power, policy power. We have to guide policy and integrate SSE through our knowledge and ensure that SSE is included and taken into account um, in public policy. So that's why the second word is power. So having an impact on public policy, both nationally, locally, and at all levels. And then my final keyword, my third keyword, is financing. Financing, fundraising. It's important to provide support for initiatives, and this can only be done with the right financial resources that are made available. That's the only way we can level up. SSE cannot be a sidelined economy. It cannot be a minor part of the economy. It is a response for everybody. It is a sustainable response. It can be a global response, and it can be an inclusive response for everybody. So it should not be, SSE should not be marginalized. It should not be a minor thing. I think that that's how we need to act. We need those three keywords. We need to use these three keywords to change our lifestyles, to change our models of consumption.
Inclusion sociale.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Same question for Young Kim, please.
Thank you, Amanda. For three keywords, that I think is a very big question. But one of the lessons from this coronavirus pandemic that gave us is that we have realized all of us are very much connected, even though some of us don't want to. So SSE now has, I think, SSE now has a very good opportunity to prove its importance to those who did not know much about the SSE. In that sense, I would pick the first, the solidarity, the first keyword. We have to, work together. We have to think about the future together in the spirit of solidarity, so that we can find the sort of, better solution that we are facing now. The second keyword I would pick is the capacity building. Uh, as I mentioned in my talk, some SSE actors, unfortunately, are not fully ready to, say, respond to the needs or demands from the, customers, or even including the local governments or national governments. And I don't know much about other countries' case, but I would say it's kind of true in Korea. So hopefully those social SSE actors not should, will get prepared for the, their much more demands in the future by having some, doing having some capacity building practice. And the third one, I would 100% agree with Malik. Uh, Financing, the money is one of the very important factors that develop, one of the very important factors in the development of SSE in any nations, I think. So the financing should be, we have to uh, develop better infrastructure for financing, so that we can have better environment, business environment for any SSE actors. So that's three key. Those are three keywords that I would pick. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we received a question in the chat I would like to share with you also. So it's Ravi from the Real Network, I guess, who is saying that looking at how these initiatives in the different countries, it seems that the success of SSE initiatives is in engaging many actors, including, if not especially the local governments, lies in the active political engagement of the citizens and how mature the engagement level is. In the context where politics is controlled in a more top-down approach, SSE model will struggle more. So, if you would like to, if you have any thoughts or any comments on this question on how on the struggle of SSE models in this dynamic, very top down that we can see. If any one of you would like to share comments on this, please, you can take the floor.
Oui, je peux.
Go ahead, Malik.
Oui, mais je partage tout à fait la conclusion.
I entirely agree with the conclusions. And well, if we look at the experiences that I shared in my presentation, I think we need to rethink our approach through our reality. We've had a top-down approach, but I think for the social economy in general, I don't know if there's yet a place for all of the actors. So I think this is key, that we need to be able to create this place. We need to change relationships with the authorities, with government. We need to modify this relationship so that we can feed into the design and creation of public policy. If we change policy, we will change reality. It's not just simple interchange between people. No, let's see what's been happening recently. COVID has happened. And therefore, the way that we respond to it is of interest to everybody. It's a shared experience. And it is a current situation that everybody is affected by. So we need to change our development model. And I absolutely agree with this idea of the early conclusion. We need to change policy. The signal has dropped.
Thank you, Malik, for your answer. And finally, we have Madani Kumare, who raised hands. Maybe if you would like, I invite you to share your comments or your question if you have any. Madani, the floor is yours. I have a very last question here, and then I propose that we wrap up the session because, well, it's time to end. But we have a question from Janik for Mr. Young Kim Ha. The new way to think about the financial structures, and if you could develop a little bit on this idea that you were referring to in your presentation.
Honestly, I don't have very specific answers to this question because we're always, trying to think of the better ways to get finances and resources for our, work. And one of the efforts which get very popular in Korea is, many people can think of, is crowdfunding. Basically we are getting funds. We are collecting funds from individuals who are interested in the SSE projects, so that we can have bigger resources to spend on certain projects. And there are a number of crowdfunding companies in Korea, and some of them are SSE organizations, and they've been very successful in helping not just the social economy companies, but also all other startups or civil sector organization, nonprofit. So I think that could be one of the ways, and I would share more with you my thought with if we don't have enough time later on through emails. Okay, thank you.
Thanks to you. And yes, I can see we have a very last question from Mariam, who I guess she was sharing on the chat about the link with rural areas and the role of places. If you would like to take the floor. Allez-y, Mariam.
Merci beaucoup.
Thank you. I would like to fully congratulate all the speakers, but I'd like to add to this early conclusion. And what I'd like to say is, it's true that through these grassroots networks, we're going to be able to add to the implementation of public policy. But we also need the involvement of local governments, because they do have enough power in their hands. in our country, we've seen that there has not been enough done for decentralization of powers. In fact, we've taken a backward step. The second point I'd like to underline is the fact that we need greater accountability, because when we look at the accountability, we have experts from local authorities, but they don't necessarily take into account the grassroots needs, the needs of local stakeholders. They only take into account the financial needs of the local mayor's office. The local authorities only focus on the financial aspects, but they don't focus on the urgent needs of local populations. And they don't do this when they draw up their budgets. I think that is the problem. So public policy needs a budget. And if we look at accountability, there needs to be a greater focus on the priority needs of local populations. And I think that that is the core of the problem. Yes, we do need public policy that's created from the base, because if we want to have SSE that is fully inclusive, we need to have grassroots engagement. We need to really work from the bottom up. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So I will just close now the questions and make like some final comments to end the session. First of all, thank the speakers for the very interesting and the complementarity also of the presentation. I think listening to one of the most pressing challenges we have for the social and solidarity economy, we heard from Japan the importance of the circular economy component, for example, in the SSE. We also heard from them the importance of international cooperation between the territories, leading social and solidarity economy action and activities, and how we need to connect and put some efforts together to scale up a little bit the social and solidarity economy. We heard from France the very concrete experience of the local governments who are taking their responsibility to build and to implement public policies, supporting and improving the social and solidarity economy at the local level, the key role of allergies to improve, to straighten, to highlight the capacity of the social and solidarity economy to make new responses and to bring innovation. I think that was very important in the presentation, this notion of innovation and social innovation that we have been hearing from our colleague from Korea. Thank you for providing us with more details on the response to the pandemic. Now, I think that here it's interesting also to hear how the social and solidarity economy can bring some specific responses, can have strong responses on the challenges that we will be facing with the economic crisis that we might be facing in the next year due to the pandemic, and how we need local government and also national government to reinforce their response, and that social and solidarity economy can be a way to build more resilience for the citizenship regarding the crisis that we are living now. And finally, from our colleague from Senegal, I think that it was very interesting to remember that social and solidarity economy needs to have like a strategy. They need to have a plan. We need to have a plan shared between the different stakeholders, between the different level, and all the importance of having a process of acknowledging, of promoting social and solidarity economy between the local government with the national government, but also the local governments who are getting connected all together to bring more strength to this commitment of social and solidarity economy, and also for reminding us the values of the social and solidarity economy, which is democratic governance, solidarity, accountability, respect of identities. I think that all these components are very important, because what we think also to build here is an alternative in showing that we can have another kind of economy who can better respond to the social demands and respond to the most pressing challenges that we are facing in our societies. And would like also to thank you the invitation of the Secretariat of the GSEF, the Committee on Social Inclusion I'm representing today of UCLG is very willing to listen of this contribution of solidarity and social economy as we're working a lot on the right to the city, on the human right-based approach. And I think that this way of thinking differently the economy is a strong component on how we can build transformative way for better cities where we can live better all together. So thank you very much for the invitation, and thank you to all the panelists for the very interesting presentation that we had today.